Okay, everyone. Hi, and welcome, 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 welcome. This is Open House 2 for the fall. So this is navigating through the October flats. And in case we haven't met before, I'm Mr. Sam. I'm the director of Young Scholars Academy, which is a virtual program for twice exceptional and neurodivergent kiddos. A little bit about Young Scholars Academy before we get into the evening and my history. Growing up, I was always a neurodivergent, young person, and I struggled a great deal then and still do now, if I'm being honest. But I was always someone who I knew I had things that I could do really well, and then it seemed like everything that school wanted me to do wasn't aligned with that. It was the things that I could do weren't graded; they weren't on rubrics, and all the things that were required a tremendous amount of support and sweat and tears and difficulty for me. And I knew that, I had great educators who made exceptions for me, to get me in PE or get me in the shop class or more art classes and things like that. And then I had teachers who would, differentiate my assignments and things. And I knew what it was like to struggle, but I also knew what it was like to be really cared for. And while I had this area where I was struggling, I had these areas where I was strong, and there were important people along my journey that invested in the strengths and chose not to focus on the areas where I struggled. And it's always been my vision to create sort of a haven like that for people. And Young Scholars Academy is that vision. And every time I meet new families and go along the road, I meet more and more twice exceptional neurodivergent students who are, really not potential, not hitting their potential, not growing into themselves, the selves that it's clear that they could be, right? That they're young people who have great gifts and so much to offer the world, and they simply don't get the ability to develop those things because they see themselves in every way but strong, in every way but special. And Young Scholars Academy was created as a result to support these kids and to give them a space. So this is an incredibly special place for me, and I'm thrilled to be able to share it with you. Tonight, we're going to go through a variety of different things. This is incredibly important to have this conversation now, because this is a term that I think I coined called the October flats, which is sort of like the newness of the year is kind of worn off. The habits and routines that are maybe from the past have come back up, and there's some of the cracks in the foundation can start to show, right? The promises, the development, the rest from the summer can fade away and be a distant memory, and students can get tripped up into old familiar pitfalls. So the October flats are a really important time for both students and for teachers and for parents, right? Students, it's an important time to work on those advocacy skills, to be able to reach out to parents and teachers and say, I think I need help, or this is too much, or I might be struggling. And for parents, it's a really important time to be able to reach out and communicate some of those strengths, right? Be able to connect with teachers and say, hey, this is, my student, and whether they're in, elementary school, middle school, college, whatever it may be, everything in between, here are ways that they've succeeded in the past. And here are some success stories. And if you want a couple, quick bullet points to help them rock it, here they are, ways to kind of help advocate, model that advocacy. And for teachers, it's an important time to look out for these kinds of things. Where is the student shining, and what are some things that they're doing really well? In this room, we have a bunch of those teachers who just see where students are shining, and I can't wait to introduce them to you very soon. So this evening, what we're going to do in this important time is we're going to look through and talk about our different teachers, our different programs, and the different ways in which we can help. We're going to look at Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to talk about our Lego class, our ecology class, improv class, a bunch of other classes that I'm offering, and we're going to also intersperse our families. And we're going to hear from a student that's worked with Young Scholars Academy for some time, and a parent who's been a member of Young Scholars Academy for some time. And then we're going to have breakout rooms, hopefully, and we're going to be able to connect with the mentors and connect with teachers, and then be able to go into those different settings and connect, and then we'll finally close out. So we have a really exciting night ahead of us. Before we go in, I just want to share a quick little story with you. I was thinking about, I think the best way that humans connect is through stories. I was trying to think, what's a great story that I could share with you this evening? A student who has really embodied everything that we're working on, that we're building here. And I recalled a student that I had about a year and a half ago who struggled like you would not believe with executive function skills. This student was so bright and was so engaged and was largely riding that kind of adrenaline, right? When he was engaged, when he was on, he could do it, he could talk about it. And then when the class ended, it was like it was gone, right? It was forgotten about until it picked up again. And this was a student who took one of our courses, the Young and Thriving course, and started to understand he didn't really have a system to capture ideas. He didn't have a way to write things down as they came up. So as we built one, he started to write things down as they came up. And this is actually one of the testimonials on my website. But his mom came down one day and she said, oh, we have to do X, Y, or Z. And the student said, wait, let me write that down, Mom. And the mom said, like, I had to pick my jaw up off the floor because I had never seen him, have the ability to, or even the openness to be able to record something as it came up. And just that know-how. I'm not saying that he went and, turned in everything and all of a sudden it was like a silver bullet, but it's a student who developed language and a system, right? And that's a place where we can really operate from so that they can self-actualize. So someone with all these incredible strengths and all of these great gifts can then start getting, deliverables across the finish line. And there are so many stories like that. And I'm excited to share some of them with you this evening. We're going to do that, but first we're going to start with a little overview of some of our classes. So I'm going to zip my lips. I've been talking a lot. I'm going to turn it over to Jason in just a moment. And Jason is our Dungeons and Dragons headmaster, mentor, aficionado. And Jason's going to talk about two of our programs that we have right now. And before I introduce them, I want to say that our classes have only been live for about 24 hours, and one of them is already almost sold out. So Jason's clearly kicking some butt and has some awesome programming. So Jason, let me turn it over to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Jason Ermer, and I am coming to you from my home classroom. That's the sign that used to be above my classroom door. I've been an educator for more than 20 years. Most of that time has been with middle school kids. I've been a math teacher at the middle school level for most of my career, and most of that time has been working with twice exceptional students in gifted programs in Texas and here in Seattle, where I live now. And I love math. I'm a math nerd. I could talk about math for hours with people, but that's not why I'm coming to you today. I'm coming to you because I'm a nerd of a different flavor. Also, I'm a Dungeons and Dragons nerd, and I love playing this game. I play this game as an adult with other adults, and I've played this game with young people for a long time. And we're going to be offering two different sort of sections of it. One for kids who have experience with Dungeons and Dragons and know the game and are sort of ready to go, and a section that's for introductory stuff, like beginners, people who've never played the game or have heard about it or maybe dabbled but don't really know what's what. Dungeons and Dragons is a role-playing game that's gaining a lot of it's been around since the 70s. It's gaining a lot of popularity now because it's showing up in popular culture more and more. It's a way to be, it's a shared storytelling experience, a collaborative experience where you embody an epic hero, and then together with your epic hero compatriots, you go on a quest and you slay monsters and find treasure and solve riddles and save the day. And it's just such a fun experience for exercising that creative side, getting really into, if you've got a student who's really into like writing stories or telling stories or loves the Lord of the Rings or loves like the Harry Potter universe, or like people who get into that sort of storytelling element can have a lot of fun because we make up a story and we tell it together. My role, I am the dungeon master or the game master. So I sort of steer and guide things, but it's not my game, it's our game. And together we have this, we go on an epic quest and whatever, kill a dragon or whatever, or befriend a dragon. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen with the dragon? It's up to us. The thing that's great about Dungeons and Dragons, in addition to that sort of collaborative storytelling, creative side, is that it also gives kids a chance to exercise some of the social skills that are so important when it comes to working in a group. Like, whatever, everybody's an adventurer on this quest, but like, how are we going to get across the river? How are we going to climb that wall? What are your skills? What skills do I have? Who's got rope? Are we working like, what's the right choice for how we tackle this problem? Working together as a team, hearing everybody's ideas, negotiating, collaborating, cooperating, all of those sorts of skills can come up in a very natural kind of way, taking somebody else's perspective, How does the giant feel that you've just barged into his living room because you want the magic goblet that he's been using since he was a child? Whatever, I don't know, I'm making this up. But like those sorts of things are exactly what the game is about. It's an epic story of adventure and a story of like teamwork. And that's why I love the game. And I think that's why it's great with kids. And I don't know what else I have to say about that. I'm looking forward to 2 new sections coming up this round, whatever we call it, fall 2. And yeah,
Excellent.
onward to adventure.
Thank you so much, Jason. And yeah, everyone, I have gone from, like loosely knowing what Dungeons and Dragons is to being like the biggest fan from a distance. I watch Jason do his thing, and I see the students, how they react. They've started a Discord together. They're all communicating about the game all week, completely nerding out. And again, when you think about like what we want for our students, right? It's exactly what Jason's saying. It's you take, your classic like Silicon Valley or startup or small company now, and it's like we want people to get together, problem solve, come up with original ideas, take perspectives, understand one another's opinions and feelings, and validate them, and then make decisions as a group. I mean, it's everything that we're looking for. And now, and you're baking in friendship making along the way, right? These students are communicating, they're chatting, and they're getting into difficult problems, and they're fixing them together. What's appropriate in the classroom? Jason and I were talking about this. Is it appropriate for someone to, bring up a YouTube video while someone else is taking a turn? Maybe we should talk about what good etiquette is during the game. And all of that stuff is happening in this space, and it's such an exciting space. So thank you, Jason. I appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.
We're happy to have you. And Jason, you'll be able to talk to Jason if anyone wants to when we go into breakout rooms, which you should. So thank you. All right, we're going to turn it over from Jason to a very special student, a very special young adult now, forgive me. I've got Ethan with us here. Ethan is a former student of mine. And Ethan, we were talking about this before we got started today, but you always impress me. And how many APs did we say right before we got started you've taken?
I ended my high school career with 5 APs taken.
Okay. So Ethan, starting college as a second semester freshman, because taking 1 AP wasn't already impressive enough, has now 15 or 16 credits. Ethan is a very special person to me because I've had the privilege of working with you for years. Ethan, tell us a little bit about sort of where you're at these days now. You're no longer a little kid anymore. What do you got going on these days?
Yeah, so I'm Ethan Kahn. I am right now a freshman at Virginia Tech, pursuing computer science here. It's been a pretty crazy journey because the high school I came from had, I think, 29 kids in my graduating class. And here, I think the student body is 30,000. So there are a few more kids here. But the transition, thanks to like the tools I've been provided from my school and the support I've been given from classes given by people like Mr. Sam, have made that transition way easier. And I honestly feel at home here, and I feel like I can thrive academically.
That's huge, Ethan. And yeah, that is, and I think, by the way, 29 was a large class for for where you come from. So that is a stark contrast. If you could, and again, thank you for being here. If you could just tell me a little bit about that transitionary support, maybe what's been something that maybe helped you from your time, working with young scholars, working with me in AP classes, or anything in between?
Yeah, so I think a big part for me was having an understanding of like a kind of a routine to go through when I enter a classroom and when I leave a classroom. I feel like before in high school, it was kind of throw anything at the wall and whatever sticks, sticks. But in Mr. Sam's class, I learned more so, okay, there's actually a format to this. There's a strategy I can take. I need to pay attention for these key moments. And if I'm feeling overwhelmed or if I'm feeling tired, these are certain strategies I can use to help myself regulate and make sure I'm at my best in every class.
If you're watching this right now or you're watching a replay, like, is that not what you want? If you're a parent, is that not like the goal, right? Or if you're a student, maybe where you were before, Ethan, like struggle to figure out what's going to work best or what strategy is appropriate. That's like such a victory that I am so proud of you, and I hope that you are so proud of yourself.
I mean, I definitely am. I think a big issue for me was struggling with kind of dealing with some academic self-esteem issues, like you were saying earlier. I felt like a part of me felt like I could be smart and handle things, but it just wasn't really reflected in the classroom. But once I learned how to kind of direct my abilities and take what's given to me and bend it in a way that's more suitable to my skills, I was able to really show the world what I'm made.
That's exactly what we're looking for. You know, you're talking about taking like a strength-based approach and leveraging the things that you're really good at. I mean, I think, again, whether you're watching this now or watching a replay, you know, this is the kind of stuff that you hope your now freshmen in college will be saying about their ability to navigate the world. And Ethan, I am just every day more impressed. I always like to ask this question of former students, and I know I have to let you go soon because, it's late for you and you have homework. I like to ask the question about like standout moments or highlights. Is there anything specific from your time at Young Scholars Academy? I mean, and this is a tough one, so if you can't answer it, it's okay. We spent 3 or 4 years together. Is there anything that would maybe quintessentially sum up like the value or the things that you got out of Young Scholars Academy or your time in the classes?
I can't remember the specific assignment, so forgive me, but I think during my sophomore year, so I was taking AP US History, me and the group were given an assignment by you to like collectively piece together like a timeline of events. And the excitement that everyone had, like it's always a struggle in the classroom where you like an assignment, but it's a group assignment and no one else really cares. But with that group, it had just the sheer energy of everyone like also wanting to know the answer and wanting to figure out, oh, you remember this part of history? Well, I remember this part. We can maybe, put these puzzle pieces together and, together find the answer. So I think moments like that, where just the energy of the room was perfect. And I was surrounded by kids that were similarly motivated and similarly just fascinated with things around them. Those are definitely standout moments.
That's a great moment. I'm smiling thinking about that. Yeah, something that we talk about a lot is like bringing together like-minded students, right? Like a lot of twice exceptional students, especially, are super passionate about content, but they can't express that because they're seen as being like a teacher's pet or it's too much. And a lot of times they have to kind of dull down their edges. And one thing that I love is when we can bring together like a gathering of the nerds, and we can all just kind of like nerd out over some content, like making a timeline, for example. So
yeah, and I mean, for me, this is coming from a kid that's now majoring in computer science, and I, of course, love computer science, but early on in elementary, I was told that humanities wasn't for me, and that this whole reading and creativity thing, like I should just focus more on the math stuff because that's what I'm good at. So the fact that I was able to nerd out over making a history timeline kind of shows just like how much the content clicked with me in this class.
I think that's a testament to how amazing you are rather than about Young Scholars Academy, but thank you. And I don't want to speak, but I think you absolutely crushed that test that year too. So yeah, you did. Look at that smile. Okay. Ethan, thank you so much. I know you have to go. You are a rock star. I am so proud of you. And thank you for coming on tonight and sharing what Young Scholars Academy has meant to you. And I couldn't be more proud of you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Okay. So we're going to keep it going. You've heard from a student. Now we're going to go back to an educator, and that's going to be me because Stacy is not here right now. So I'm going to be Stacy for a moment. I feel a lot smarter already. And I just want to tell you a little bit about a couple of the courses that Stacy's going to be offering. So you can, and feel free to email me if you have any more questions, and I'll put you in touch with Stacy. So we have 2 new classes. Stacy's going to be offering Lego Engineers and Ecology. So we're actually Ecology and Evolution. So we're putting a hold on climate combatants right now, and we're switching it up a little bit, creating 2 new classes. Lego Engineering is Stacy's most popular class that she teaches on her own, and she's now bringing it to Young Scholars Academy. So this is an engineer's masterclass where your student can use their own Legos or digital Legos, which is awesome. I didn't know that was a thing, and collaborate virtually to create projects, respond to challenges, and work on sort of build competitions. So this is a fantastic way to sort of bring in some of those elements that a lot of people like from things like robotics and so forth, and really do it in a fun, playful way to responding to, you know, unconventional challenges, working together at times, competing at others, and really looking at things differently. So Lego Engineers is going to be awesome. We already have some signups for that one. And the next Stacy class is going to be really pulling from her expertise, right? For ecology and evolution. So this is going to be an amazing class because it resists simplicity, right? We're not just looking at animals. We're not just looking at environments. We're looking at these sort of complex symbiotic relationships between animals, evolution, you know, adaptation, maladaptation, and exploring the relationship between these two spaces. So, you know, she's going to bring her biological background and her expertise as someone who has, you know, lived in Catalina and done marine biology professionally and has all these scholarships and prestige in the space. And she's going to be bringing all that expertise into the evolution and ecology space. So I know we actually had a student who requested an evolution class. So, you know, we're also creating classes for our students because, well, that's what we do. So that's going to be an amazing class. And I'm not doing a great job of describing it as she would if she were here, but doing my best. So very exciting classes. Let me know if you have more questions. Again, that's Lego Engineering Masterclass, and that's Ecology. And both of those classes are open for students from 11 to 17 because they can be really well differentiated so that you can take them at your own pace. Okay, now I'm going to switch off from being Stacy and go back to being Mr. Sam. And I have the privilege of introducing Corrine. And Corrine is someone very special to me beyond just the Young Scholars Academy mom. Corrine is really a kind of a founding mother of Young Scholars Academy. Very early on, I told Corrine, you know, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to start this space for twice exceptional kids. And it's going to be like this. It's going to be virtual. And I want kids from all over the world. And Corrine was like, oh, let me send out some emails. And I have never seen this happen before, but in one of my first courses, I had this idea for Young and Thriving Senior Edition, which is now called Young Adulting. And I told Corrine I wanted to, you know, have some courses, but I wasn't exactly sure. And she said, if you make that course, I'll fill it up. And Corrine sent one email and the class filled up in like 30 minutes. And I had to make a second version of it because there were so many people who wanted it. And I needed someone to say, you know, hey, it's okay, do this thing. And you know, I think Corrine is not only a mom of a student who's at Young Scholars Academy previously, but also is someone who really gets the strength-based, talent-focused approach. So Corrine, it's such an honor to have you. And I'm gonna, if you can unmute, I think I asked you to the button here. Yeah. If you wouldn't mind saying a little bit about what Young Scholars Academy has meant to you and telling us about your journey.
Wow. Well, first of all, I just want to say my son Theo really wanted to be here tonight. He's in college. He's at Arizona State University, and he's doing something tonight. He's got something going on, but he just wanted me to launch into. He wrote me all these notes. He wanted me to say all these very laudatory things about you. But I'm realizing now that this audience is much bigger than just you. So while I don't want to launch into all his accolades for you, but you've been an incredibly important person in his life, and I would say that I kind of implicitly trust anyone that you trust. So I am just meeting some of the other teachers on here tonight, but I just know from knowing you for 5 years or so now that you have a real authenticity, you have a real understanding of our children, you have a real dedication to your field and your craft. And so I just know that the other teachers who are on here and the other teachers who are part of Young Scholars Academy, I just know that you would not associate with anybody who wasn't at your level. So, while my son maybe hasn't taken classes with some of the other teachers here, I'm sure they're all very, very excellent. So I've been accused online of simping for you, which I don't know if some of the older people don't know what simping is, but simping apparently is when you give more than you receive, right? So, online I sing so many praises about Mr. Sam, about Young Scholars Academy, that like people think that I'm getting paid or something to do it, that I'm not. I just, you've changed my son's life. Absolutely. He's at college right now in no small part because of the skills and the doors you've unlocked in his mind that he could be more than he thought he could be. And you also talked me into it because I was feeling very nervous about whether he was ready or not. And so, you knew my kid well enough that you were on my very short list of people to call and say, give it to me straight. What are his strengths? What are his challenges? Is he actually ready? And so, he's there, in no small part due to you. So I appreciate that very much. So it's had a profound impact on my family, and he's doing very, very well. And he is in very much alignment with the things that you predicted would be strengths and challenges. So I think one of your strengths, and I'm sure the other teachers you work with, is that you very much get to know the students on an individual basis. It's not about plugging kids into some pre-existing class or some pre-existing curriculum. It's really about getting to know them in an authentic, relational way, which I think is so profoundly just catapults these kids to another level. Yeah. Was that enough? How you've impacted our life?
We're just gonna end the meeting here. Yeah. Everyone sign up for courses. Corrine, that was amazing. I forgot about the simping thing. That Corrine was plugging me in Facebook groups last year, and you sent me the screenshot of a message from one of the editors or something, and you were like, "No, this is just genuinely how I feel, but be careful." And we almost got canceled together. So
yeah, we almost got kicked out of that group.
But in all seriousness, you really do encapsulate everything that we're going for. That this idea that we can support a village, right? That we can create a village, that we can support parents, that we can support kids, and I don't know that we deserve all the credit that you give or that I do, but I certainly appreciate it. And I think Corine's referring to the Adulting and Thriving course. Her son took it all last year, which is a course that takes seniors all the way through the senior year and just kind of exposes them to different ideas and different ways to think about their future and kind of flip the script. And I'll get more into that later, but rather than just saying hey, what are you going to major in, kiddo? Saying how are you going to die? How do you want to live a full life? And now what major makes the most sense to get you there, right? And being able to create that environment with twice exceptional seniors is just the most incredible thing. And you coming and saying that you've had a success to launch, that your kiddo is in college and that there may be difficulties and there will be difficulties, but that he's doing his thing. And the fact he can't be here tonight because he's at a social event. I mean, hello. That's a victory. Corrine, I had a million questions for you, but you honestly did a better job of saying everything that I ever could have even asked. So is there anything else that you would like to add to parents who are maybe, on the fence? They've maybe seen Young Scholars Academy from the outside, or they've taken a class before but haven't come back for some time. Is there anything else that you could say as a mom?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say that sometimes our kids can develop in ways that we weren't expecting. And so, it's really important to follow their interests, because when they're really interested in something, other things that were challenges can actually come on board. I know that Theo did speech and debate with you, not through YSA, but through, so things like speech and debate, things like an AP class in psychology, if that's an interest of theirs. So my son, hated writing, has dysgraphia, has ADHD, was literally under a table for most of his educational career whenever any teacher would say the word writing, but really keyed into speech and debate, right? That really lit his fire. And so in learning speech and debate with you, he learned how to write. That's in all the straightforward writing classes, he would never engage. But through the concept of speech and debate, he really engaged with the process of how to lay out an argument, how to back up your argument, how to organize your thoughts, which are all issues when you have dysgraphia or ADHD that can be kind of hard. So that then segued into, now he's in this honors level course where he has to read a book every week and write these papers. And, but all of those skills from speech and debate is what gave him the confidence then, because he did well in speech and debate. He never did well in writing, but he did well in speech and debate. And that then gave him the confidence. So I think you're right on the mark for offering interesting classes that kids would want. Kids would say, I want to do D&D, I want to do improv, I want to do speech and debate, I want to take an AP course in a certain subject. And then the parents just know that the other stuff is coming through that. They will tackle the hard stuff in doing the things that they love. And they get the impetus, the drive to tackle the harder stuff, because they don't even really realize it's happening. They're just doing what they love. I mean, with D&D, you were talking about kids, working out social issues or learning how to take perspective. If you just put them in like a social skills class, they're bored to tears, or they're feeling criticized, or they're just not interested, but suddenly through D&D, yeah, my kid plays D&D too. It's like, it's amazing that those things can kind of come. So just like chill out, follow your kids' interests, and just wait for the magic. And I mean, it might not be happening right away, but there's ripple effects, and I just see it for years, and so yeah, follow your kids' interest.
That's beautiful, Corinne. Thank you. And I think especially for families who have younger kiddos, or maybe at that, just getting into high school or in middle school, and they're really seeing a lot of that, production struggle. And it's so important to just remember that kind of big picture, focus on the strengths, focus on developing the interests. And I always say we bake in everything on the side, right? Speech and debate is a writing class, right? But I don't call it that because that's loaded. That's it's a secret. There's trauma around writing. There's difficulty around writing. And so if we can do what students love and then, give them what they want and then bake in what they need, then I think we have a really special ecosystem. And that's exactly what we do. So thank you. All right, Corinne, I know you also have to go. So thank you so much for being with us on this evening. And thank you for sharing your stories with us. Have a great night. Okay, everyone, we're going to go to our final educator who is here this fine evening. We're going to go over to Pat. So Pat, I'm going to have you go ahead and join us. And Pat is a very special person for us because she's brought the arts. Okay, Pat's brought improv to us. And I've noticed that this is actually already, just today we got, I think, 4 or 5 signups already for improv. And clearly people are responding. They're really excited about improv. So Pat, if you could tell us a little bit about improv and your time at Young Scholars Academy, I would really appreciate it.
Okay, hi, I'm Pat Scortino, and I used to be a professional actress and a comedian. And once my own daughter started elementary school, I became so interested in how kids learn. So I went back to school and I got a master's in special ed. And my first place I was hired was a 2E school. And from them, my students came improv because their sense of humor, their broad-based knowledge, all of the strengths that they have, it defines them, not what they can do, what they can do. And so it offered them an opportunity to use improv where what they say isn't dictated by an adult, which is fabulous. I always tell them, this is not my class, it's yours. So please tell me if you need something, you want something. And I think in all the years I've been teaching improv, which is about 12, I have never, I ask parents, please do not tell your kid that they're coming to be fixed. They're coming because of their strengths. And I have to say, just like D&D, I'm amazed. I learned so much from you listening, Jason, because it's the same. It's about social skills, how to interact with others, and how to create a story together and collaborate. And the collaboration is unbelievable. When they start creating, for example, I will say, we are creating a brand new product. It's called, and I'm picking a caption, a card, that's just wrong. So what could it be? And they start adding and growing and they become it. And then they do the infomercial selling the product. So they have the control. And again, their humor, they laugh together. I get to laugh for hours. There's nothing better than that. And I mean that. It is unbelievable, but we laugh together. And laughter is a fabulous way to communicate with each other and to feel close to each other when you laugh together. I just want to say, I had a child that when I was teaching in a classroom that sat under the desk lip because he was so overwhelmed. And this is what I'm telling you this because they taught me. I taught him under the desk. I did not make him sit in the desk. And this young man had gone off to college and everything and became a psychiatrist. And I'm just saying, learning from them is just as valuable. And that's what young Scholars Academy, that's the basis. We look at the children and we go from there. And so improv is a fabulous way for your child to be able to laugh, share their humor, and create stories.
That's so important, Pat. And you know, something that I always think of when you're talking about improv is, you know, so many of our students have these, again, this asynchronies, right? They may have the intellectual, you know, abilities of someone far beyond their own age. They may be reading beyond their own age. And then they may have the social maturity of someone their age or even below. And that sense of humor often ends up quite different from a lot of their, you know, peers. And having a space where they can come together, and Jason sees this, I'm sure, in D&D, and I know, Pat, you do, some of the dark, sarcastic, you know, meme-oriented, really witty, you know, banter and things that these students just get one another. And maybe even for just an hour a week, it has nothing to do with what's going on. It's just being understood and laughing and having other people laugh at their jokes, as silly as they may be. And I still will never understand them, but they get each other. And for just an hour a week, they have that. I think that's so special.
Can I add, it's because I understand, I use, let's say, headlines that they get to be newscasters. I use real headlines because they know these are not made up little funny things. These are real, but they were written in a way that could be taken funny. Mm-hmm. And they find it and they play it. Yeah. And it has to be real. And it's, again, you know, using things that are within their world is very important. Very important. And like I said, defining themselves by their strengths is my goal.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Pat. Thank you for that. And yes, we have the improv groups are growing just like Dungeons and Dragons. We're getting more and more sections, and we'll have even more in the spring after this fall. But right now I recommend hopping into one of these two because they're already starting to fill up. So excellent. Thank you. So now I'm going to go quickly into the last and least classes, the Mr. Sam classes. I'm going to whip through those, and then we're going to start to wrap up. So quickly, I just want to go through, we have first speech and debate. So of course, the speech and debate was really the foundation, sort of that first brick laid that created Young Scholars Academy. And as you heard from Corrine, the mom who was just on, speech and debate really is one of the most foundational courses. It allows your student to take perspective, to really organize their thinking. A lot of our students have a tremendous amount to say, but may not always back it up with evidence, or may struggle to organize their thoughts or respond appropriately to others who they disagree with. And speech and debate really teaches all of those things. They become active, compassionate listeners who can organize their thinking and have research-based or evidence-based claims. And of course, the bonus that Corrine talked about, they become great writers. I had an alumni come back and tell me that she learned more at a speech and debate class with me than she did all of her English classes in high school. And that's the kind of level upon which she's writing in college now. So it truly is preparing your students at any level, elementary all the way up to college. Another great course that we have is Young and Thriving. And that's a course that is really all about executive function, okay? Young and Thriving is a course that has students building their own task management systems. Like Pat was talking about earlier, when we tell our students to do something, they're not as into it. But when they can build it, when they can create that space, they can thrive. And Young and Thriving is about having students create their own systems for note-taking, for organizing folders, for processing and intaking information. And that's ultimately where they thrive. At the very beginning of tonight, I talked about that one student who wrote things down. He said, hold on, Mom, one second, I have to write that down. That's from that class. Okay, so that's a class that really does work miracles. Then there's the big kid version of that, which is Adulting and Thriving. So this is my third Mr. Sam course, and that's a year-long program for seniors, okay? It goes all year, and it really helps seniors not just create the task management systems, but also tap into their visions. This is the one that Corrine's son took, that where students can really develop a vision and figure out, you know, what am I called to do in this life? What's my why? What's my personal legend? We read books together, and we discuss, and we really chart a pathway forward rather than just saying, what am I going to major in, or what am I going to do next year? But what am I called to do? What's that burning desire in my belly? What do I have to do? Right? Simon Sinek said in that very famous Start With Why speech, you know, the difference between the Wright brothers and the competitors is that the Wright brothers wouldn't come home for dinner unless they'd crashed 5 times, right? Because they loved it. They were called to do it. They had to do it. They sold bikes to support their plane addiction, right? And that's the kind of students that we have. The next course is beyond that. So helping our college freshmen, I have a course called College Companions, which is a half-year course, which essentially helps students be more successful in college. It gives them a safe space to check in. If you've seen the numbers, they're not the best for twice exceptional students in college. I think the numbers are about 60% according to educationdata.org. It's like 60% of twice exceptional students will often drop out of colleges. So I thought, instead of just knowing that, let's create a community where students can come in only twice a month, but come together and check in and get resources. And we make it fun. Okay, I give them scavenger hunts. This week, I want you to go get the business card from the person who runs the accommodations office. And you have to show it to me. Okay, now you have to go to your professor's office hours and get their business cards. And the person with the most wins. So they're going out, they're getting the resources they need. We're talking about social events, how they can succeed. I'm sharing different tips and tricks, and we're having a great time while they're afar at college. And it's an incredible opportunity to come together and connect and not feel alone in a new space. So I wholeheartedly believe in that. And then finally, the course that Ethan was talking about earlier, we have our APs. So Ethan's taken every AP under the sun. Right now, we're offering AP Psychology and AP US History. And those courses, Young Scholars Academy, I want to brag about this. Young Scholars Academy just got approved as a AP homeschool institution. So your student can take AP and actually get AP high school credit on their transcript. And then when they pass the test, which they will, because we have an average score of 4 out of 5, which is fantastic. I'm bragging, I'm sorry. But we had 100% pass rate last year and an average score of 4. So awesome. Our students can then go have college credit. So as you heard from Ethan took all my APs and then some, and is now a second semester freshman. Okay, he's months ahead of some of his classmates. And now we can take more fun classes and do all that other stuff. So I believe wholeheartedly in that as well. So again, debate, Young and Thriving for executive function systems, Adulting and Thriving, helping those seniors navigate successfully through college, College Companions, and that is then the APs, AP Psych and AP US History. Okay, so we have a ton of stuff going on. Now, we're going to jump right ahead and start to wrap. I know that there's a lot of excitement and that there are a lot of different courses. And I want to just remind everyone of a couple things before we wrap up. One, that there is an early bird special. For the first time ever, I'm offering a 10% off early bird special of everyone who registers by this Sunday, the 25th. So want to make our courses really attractive and affordable for you. And we wanted to do that to get you in there and make sure your kiddo gets a seat. So these courses are usually capped at about 6 or 8 students. Again, some of them are already 50% and beyond full, and we've only had enrollment open for about 24 hours. So I definitely recommend that you please take advantage of that. And just know, if you do the math, the courses meet 8 times, you're getting 10% off. That's almost one class at no charge to you, right? Roughly. So that's a fantastic deal. It's the first time we've done this. It might be the only time we do it. So I want to make sure you take advantage. Secondly, just a couple other little things. We're also offering a major bonus pack. Okay, so we're doing a new bonus, which is called the Thriving in School bonus. And I'm just giving away like our best resources. So a couple things that you get when you sign up, just for signing up, for taking the same course you love. I'm inviting the number one 2E college specialist, Eric Eindlich, is going to do a Young Scholars Academy talk to everyone who enrolls in courses. So whether your kiddo's in middle school, earlier, or high school, Eric's going to come and talk about how 2E kids can go through the college application process and make sure it's right for them. Also have a new activity resource called a hype board, which is essentially giving your student the ability to challenge the narrative, right? Write down things that they're hyped about, record things that they have going on, that they're excited about, that they're doing, and not focus on the things that they're not, right? So much of life tells our students what they're not doing, where they're coming up short, and it's all pew-pew. This is a space where your student can have a visual, take charge of writing down everything that's going on, and some prompts that will help them do that. Also, giving away our note-taking resource and our executive function task management system. And this is all at no charge to anyone. So when you sign up, you get these resources, and they're worth $424 when you add them all up, which is more than the courses cost. Okay, so you're not only getting essentially a free course on the end, a free class, but you're also getting all these amazing resources which can help your kids thrive. So really putting our money where our mouth is, because I want your student to have the best year ever, and I want them to overcome the October flats, and I want them to work with all these amazing mentors who you have met and had stories like the student and parent who you met this evening. So this is your moment, everyone. I want to encourage you. Again, Young Scholars Academy is this incredible space. We are the best kept secret in the 2E space, and we're working on changing that. I want your child to have a space to come and join and really build confidence, right? I want to close on this thought, but I know so many friends who in their personal lives, they seem really scattered or uninterested or shy, or they struggle, but in their workspace, they're powerful, right? They're important, they're leaders. And I see that because they're in their lane. You know, these are people who might appear one way and maybe struggle, and they might appear another way and they may struggle, but these are people who in the right environment, in the right setting, can absolutely thrive. And Young Scholars Academy is that place. It's a place where your kid can put on the right hat, be with the right people, and they can shine, and they can be heard, and they can be understood, and they can be all of those things. So this is a fantastic opportunity for you to empower your kiddo, to put them in a space where they can be with mentors like Pat, like Jason, like myself, and like Stacy, and they can come together and learn and absolutely feel just that glorious feeling, even if it's just 1 hour a week or 5 or 10 of just being understood, looking up at neurodivergent mentors and saying, oh, they're kind of like me, but older. Looking over at neurodivergent peers and saying, these guys just like me. We have the same weird sense of humor. And being in that space where they can do what they love. And then, as Corinne said earlier, just letting everything come together. Okay, so I have one last question for you, which is essentially, are you ready? This is a fantastic opportunity. It's a fantastic time for you to hop on and join one of those classes. If you've been on the sidelines looking in, as Corinne said, this is the time to explore your child's interests. And again, we're giving away this amazing bonuses at no extra cost, the invitation and all the resources. And we're giving a discount. We're literally putting our money where our mouth is. We're giving a discount on these courses as well for the first time and probably only time. So please, what you get is so much greater than what you give. Please enroll your kiddo, trust your kiddo with us. Please take advantage of this opportunity. And we look forward to seeing your child on the inside and seeing them make transformations that I know once you come in, you will never leave, because what we've got going on is so special. So thank you all so much for being here this evening. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. And I hope that you all have the most magnificent evening. And I can't wait to see your kiddos. Remember, a quick timeline, 9/25, the 25th, is when that early bird special ends. So that's Sunday. So please make sure you sign up. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a lovely evening. I appreciate you being here. And I will see you all on the inside.